number 4, Tennessee, 13.5-point favorite against Arkansas. The over-under I have is 43 Arkansas rushing yards. Take the over on that, okay? But I wanted to praise how good the Vols have been against the run so far with that defensive line specifically. In 3 games against FBS competition, Tennessee has allowed an average of 43 rushing yards, 1.37 yards per carry, second in America, first among non-service academies. What's actually even more impressive about that with the college stats and as it relates to rushing yards allowed and stuff, sometimes for a college team, especially early in the season, it can be really skewed with the favorable matchups and sack numbers. And we could all this, like, if you do the sack adjusted rushing yards, all of a sudden it changes it by like 2 yards a carry
Colorado
or something
has some
like
rushing
that.
yards.
Right? Exactly. And it's like, I've been trying to do a better job of that, of like bringing up the sack adjusted rushing yards after a game and not just the raw number, because I think it tells a better story of what we're trying to.
Where do you find that, by the way?
So Tennessee, I do stats broadcast. I probably shouldn't be giving this out because it's usually just for media. But like, there's a site that the teams use that they track stats. It's like their version of Game Tracker, and it has all of those breakdowns like during a game and stuff. And sometimes there's like a password that's required to it depending on the game. But you could find those. They live update it, and it's really nice to be able to follow instead of having to like go back and do math afterwards.
With a loaded deck against me. I see what's happening here. I got to go do math anyway.
Always that and the PFF snap count that definitely gives me a little bit of a leg up. So look, with Tennessee, with the best pass rushing prospect in America, James Pierce Jr., that's what he is, and a defensive line that's been nothing short of phenomenal. They only have 7 sacks through 4 games. So the only Tennessee player with multiple sacks this year is not James Pierce Jr., it's not Keenan Pili, it's Tyree West, and both of those happened against FCS Chattanooga. So I mean, think about that. It's crazy to think that James Pierce Jr. hasn't been this overwhelmingly dominant player, and we've seen this group look that good. And he does have 5 quarterback hits. He's capable of going off against anyone, especially against an Arkansas offensive line that was very much overwhelmed by Nick Scorton, albeit a heavier Nick Scorton, different player. Claire's weighing in. She's got some thoughts on that. Thick Scorton.
I know it's Scorton. That was a nickname.
Yeah, thick with 2 C's, they say. I bring that up because I don't know that this is a game where Jaquindon Jackson will see anything but bodies between the tackles. It could be some tough sledding for a guy that I believe is still leading the SEC in rushing, even after he only got 10 carries in that game against A&M. And I don't think this is an instance in which you want Taylen Green making things happen with his arm against a defense that's basically got an entire 2 deep of guys that have a TFL. Yeah, look that up. Tennessee already 22 guys that have registered at least half of a TFL. That's pretty remarkable. Arkansas needs Taylen Green to run like a gazelle. That's what the game plan is. That is the
he'll
plan
run
of
like
attack.
a gazelle. Now, will he run right into a lion as he did last game?
Correct. They need Taylen Green to run forward
away
like a
from
gazelle, away from the lion, not into space, preferably holding onto the football with 2 hands. Design run game, not scrambles. This is going to be like a Bobby Petrino playing with his left hand type of game. It just has to be, I think. Get that Arkansas offensive line moving forward. Trust that your big physical receivers on the outside can hold blocks on the edges, because this new look secondary for Tennessee has been better than I thought they were going to be, but they really haven't seen a group kind of like what Tennessee or like what Arkansas is going to have with those big physical receivers. So kind of test that, see if they can get off blocks. That's what I would be doing if I were Arkansas. I think this has to be like a 20 carry Taylen Green game. I really do. This cannot be a multi-turnover Taylen Green game, which that scenario
that's
feels
the only Taylen Green game.
Likely. Yeah.
Like a Cardinals fan, Connor. That doesn't exist.
Exactly. We don't talk about those people. Do I think that happens in this one? Do I think we see a multi-turnover Taylen Green game? Yeah. I do. Tennessee coming off the bye, I think it answers the bell in another hostile atmosphere. I do think the Arkansas defense prevents Dylan Sampson from running wild, but I'm going to go back on what I said in the preseason. I'm not going to stick with Arkansas to win this game. I'm going to pick Tennessee to win this game. Kind of going away. even in a
Yeah.
good atmosphere. I think Tennessee wins 31.
Yeah, Arkansas is in a position right now. I forgot who had this quote, but it's like you should all over yourself. Where it's like you got a couple of games that you probably should have won. Now you're sitting here. You got a really daunting schedule ahead of you, and this team is just a nightmare matchup. It's just really, I think, for exactly the reasons that you just hit on, which is that okay, you've already kind of seen this team struggle a little bit, with the elite pass rushers, and this is just I know I always say this when I talk about Tennessee, but I need people to understand it. This is a smash mouth football team in a very productive way. That when I say their line play is, I mean, maybe you think Tennessee has the best line play in the SEC, offensive, defensive?
Cole is always my resource to be able to answer that question because he could diagnose that better than I would. It's hard to pick against it at this point. And I think Bama's interior offensive line has absolutely looked the part so far. I think that would be in consideration. Like if you were just looking at tackles, you look at LSU, but as a unit, as a whole, it's hard to argue against it.
Yeah, and I'm saying offensive, defensive too. So I think, yeah.
I think that's I agree with
going
that.
away because like let's say LSU ever 2 and 3. I don't think they have top 2 or 3 D lines in the way that Tennessee does. So yeah, point being, like if you have an offensive line that's gotten better, but it's still not good at Arkansas. You have a quarterback who you hear the Fred Flintstone sound when he runs, and you have like 6 good guys who can get after him, and your coverage in the back end is good. And on the other side of the ball, again, the offense has kind of been better, or whatever. But I just think, I don't know. I really just do not like this matchup for Arkansas at all. I think that Tennessee has the ability to both push you around and to open it up at this point, which is really scary because this is an Arkansas team that does make mistakes, and a Tennessee team that has proven they will capitalize on mistakes and basically just hang out and call off the dog. So, yeah, I have Tennessee going away to your point right there.
You know what's kind of crazy? We just did that entire preview talking about this matchup. Not one mention of Nico. Not one. That speaks to the depth of Tennessee. The few weaknesses that they have. Look, Arkansas, if Arkansas comes out and plays extremely disciplined, maybe this can be a 4-quarter game, but to this point, we have not seen that they're going to be able to hold up against a Tennessee team of this caliber.